It looks like we are going to get a fantastic weather on our sail to the historic city of Cadiz. Now we are ready, or almost ready, for a new day at sea. Welcome to Sailing Frida of Visby, a real boat life story. We are a middle-aged couple that has quit our working life to start sailing. And so far our sailing adventure had taken us more than 5,000 nautical miles along the coast of Europe, and out to the Azores and into the Mediterranean Sea. Good morning. We have slept quite well here outside Marseille, despite that there has been quite a few ships that has passed during the night and especially here during the morning. But now we are ready, or almost ready, for a new day at sea. It is time to leave, so now we will take the snubber off and lift up the anchor. And I have placed a camera on foredeck so it can film the whole process. And to the viewers that are not yet so salty, a snubber is a line that you attach to the anchor chain and tie to the cleat of the boat in such a way that the load and the weight of the boat is on the cleat and not on the anchor winch. Because the winch is not designed to hold and carry those 16 tons, only to lift the anchor. So it will break if it has to carry the whole load of the boat. But it's a little bit tricky because the hook that we attach to the chain from Mantus is a little bit wider than the actual track. So passing this trickiest point is a bit difficult, and Anders usually go up and help me. At this moment we are still hanging in the anchor in the winch, so it's actually no stress because there's absolutely no wind. So for this short time the winch will not break. While Anders go back to the helm, I put the snubber away. With the snubber stowed away, it's time to pick up the control from the anchor winch. At this point I check with Anders through the headset that it's okay to start pulling the anchor up. And while we are doing that, I try to give him some hand signals about where we are towards the anchor chain, because we don't want to cross it. You can hear that Anders makes some fine adjustments with the bow thruster. I'm during this whole process using the control to pulling up the chain, and I'm also looking down to see when the anchor is lifting from the bottom, so I can tell Anders that. We usually use a scope of 5. That means if it's 5 meters of depth, we will have 25 meters of chain. Sometimes sand, mud or even seagrass gets stuck on the anchor. In that case, I keep it just below the surface while we're driving slowly, so that the sand can fall off. If it's more mud than sand, we sometimes need to turn around or even back a little bit to get it all off. When I see that the anchor is clean, I pull it up the last bit, and as soon as I see that the anchor is above the surface, I communicate with Anders. When the anchor is all up, we secure it with a line that prevents it from bouncing up and down in the waves. When the safety line is on, I tell Anders through the headset that the anchor is secured, and stow the control away. So the process of lifting up the anchor is finished and we are underway. In today's episode we will sail the second part of Costa de Luz to Cadiz.
Approximately 8-9 hours, something like that.
And that is 50 something?
60.
60 knots. Okay.
I'm not sure.
And the wind is going to come from almost any direction.
Yeah.
But
Turning around a lot.
But it's light wind. Just turn off the motor. And yeah, we did get outside the wave breaker, but barely. It's more or less a gauntlet in between all the small fishing boats and big tankers at anchor. And we started out with the Maine and the Genoa. That's looks like we're going to get a great day today as well. And this wants a bigger sail. And I wanted to drink up my coffee first. So Anders decided that he's going to do it himself. Because he can't wait a cup of coffee time. So at least tell the camera, what are you doing?
I am boiling out or furling out the Janaker.
Yeah. And despite that, we will be far from foiling with our 20 tons.
But furling?
Furling we will do. May I just ask a little question?
Yep.
Wouldn't it be better to put away the Genoa first and then furl out the
It's safer
Janaker?
to do it behind the Genoa because it will
Janaker,
not fill as much.
Okay,
So nothing really can happen behind there.
okay. That's an explanation. I hope some of you learned something because I did. There you can see. It's coming. It's running in. AIS. Yeah.
Yeah.
We get some kind of false signal message now and then. We just need to acknowledge it and then everything is fine again. Okay, well done.
Yeah. It's furled out 100% now. Yeah.
Can't really see. All windows are so dirty
Yeah.
in the sprayer that you can't
Still
see
not.
through.
Oh.
Now it's 100%. Big boy. Big sail.
The wind went down to 5 knots from 7 knots and we keep the speed. We wouldn't have done that without the Janaker.
Yeah. Second day with the Janaker. Hello, Captain.
Hi.
Are you feeling good?
This is nice. A little too little wind, but it's okay.
Yeah. Drink your coffee and be happy.
Absolutely. The wind will come. We're squeezed between a tanker and a fish farm. That's why we're getting that close to the tanker.
Doesn't look as close when I film, but believe me,
100 meters.
it's a couple of 100 meters. But
Closer than we normally are.
yeah, from our point of view, it looks maybe about this big.
Avoiding tanker, then on cargo.
Yeah, but it's big. Big cargo ship. Probably going to Elba. It's in here or fishing area where they don't want us to go. We don't. And it's a lovely day. But again, it's this kind of thin haze. I can feel that it's warming up now. The sun is warming up. So probably need to switch to something less warm quite soon. Each time we have started the motor and Anders took the sail down while I was cooking.
Yeah, main sail is still up.
Okay. It was,
Even if it's not wave.
yeah, but it was too little wind. So
Yeah, we had 1.5 meters or 3 to 4 knots.
yeah,
Not enough.
that's not enough. Then we
We
will,
have 32 more nautical miles to do, so we can't do it in 2 knots.
yeah. And we would prefer to get to Cadiz before it gets dark. Maybe not possible, but we will try.
We will, if we motor like this, we will be there at 6, or before 6.
Anders thinks he sees traces of wind forward.
Yeah, I see some wind, some out here, a couple of 100 meters in front of us. But the question is it sustainable and in which direction is it?
The forecast said it was going to turn around.
Forecast said wind from all directions.
Yeah.
Not at the same time, but
Starting in
This day.
one and then go all the way around. But being quite light all the time. So.
we have 1.5 knots. That's not sailable.
Look at the color of the water. Such an intense, nice green color. We are motor sailing. We have the main up, but mainly going for motor because there is absolutely no wind at the moment. It's not sailable. But we're getting there, and it's a nice warm day here on the, I know we're not on the Bay of Cadiz yet, but we are in a bay and we are outside Cadiz. Over there is Rota. There's also a marina. We are going over the other side of the bay to Cadiz, Puerto de Americas. Getting closer to Cadiz. See it quite clearly now. And we are looking for the next buoy, but I can't see it yet. We have had an absolutely great day on the water again. We haven't sailed as much as we did yesterday. We sailed a little bit in the beginning, but then the wind died down. And then it turned around and we had it more or less directly in the nose. At first we had it directly from behind and then we had it directly in the nose. So both of them were not good options. So we are motored for a couple of hours. Now when we had less than an hour to go, the wind really picked up. From having almost no wind at all most of the day, it's 7-8 knots now when we are getting close to the marina. So of course, it's as it usually are. When you start to cook or you're entering a marina, then the wind increases. That's the way it is. It's a law of cruising. Now we are getting really close to Cadiz. It's quite an industrial harbor. We are going to lay in a marina, but in the industrial part, because the inner marina doesn't take boats as long as ours, according to Navli. And I previously said wrong because I said 7 to 8 knots, but I mean 15 to 16 knots. So it's quite windy, of course, when you're going to tie up. I got the fenders out. The boat is lay on deck, so I can easily just push them down. And one final fender, which is not as heavy as the others, and I usually save that one for last, so that when I see where we're going in and how it looks and so on, then I put that one on. Puerto Americas tror jag det var.
Puerto Americas. This is Frida Whitby, calling on channel 9.
About half an hour earlier than we said. But I don't think that should be a problem. I think I can see the masts over behind the wave break over there. So that's probably where we're going. So now we are docked, but it wasn't one of our best dockings. But we have the wind directly from behind.
We had the wind 100% from behind, so and it whirled like 10 degrees in both directions, and you never knew if it would come from port or starboard.
Yeah.
And it was pretty hard. No, it wasn't an easy docking.
And as you can see, it's very short distance from the entrance to where we actually lay. It's just a boat length. And
the entrance is super narrow.
The fingers are very short. The entrance is narrow and very close by, and the fingers are very, very short. So we normally put a spring line on that Anders can drive on, but it wasn't possible because the cleat was in front of our midship cleat, so we couldn't. And we ended up on the side, and then we came too close. Of course, Anders could not control the aft. And in the middle of everything, our bow thruster was beeping. We didn't know at the time it was that. We just knew we had some kind of alarm. So that was stressful, and we had, I think, 2 or 3 boats that helped, but they did what they could, but it was not one of the best. But
our boat is not sinking.
No, it has a scratch in the front in the bow.
It has a scratch.
Which we need to repair, but apart from that, it's okay. So now we eat a little bit because we need to refuel and rest a little bit, and then we are going up with the papers to register. After a terrible night with waves constantly slapping on our aft where we normally sleep, it calmed down and became a quite nice morning. This is downtown Cadiz. We are at the square next to the museum, and look at those fantastic trees. Anders, don't look at the bear, the tree. It's really cute downtown center, old and narrow streets. Look at those balconies. Really cute. I like this. There's the cathedral. I think Anders wants to check out the menu here.
Ja, skön stol.
Nice place. Some cute little ways. Yeah. I think you can understand why they say Cadiz is such an amazing town. Because we've been here for 5 minutes and I'm already amazed by those streets.
Lite annorlunda bröd
I don't know what it is,
och så
but
någon
it looks good.
smältost där och... Ja, det
Anders bought
ser bra ut. Det här kommer jag överleva.
nice too.
Det är mitt mål varje dag att överleva.
We met some fellow Swedish people. After lunch, we continued to explore this amazing historic city. The port boomed during the 16th century as a base for exploration and trade. But the city is much older than that. It was founded by the Phoenicians, traditionally claimed to be around 1100 BC. We thought that it was an amazing town to just walk around in those narrow streets and look at the historic buildings and people.
Paper.
It's paper flowers. Made them all over the street. Thousands of those paper flowers hanging over the street. And it probably takes some time to make them.
Här hade du en fin byggnad.
Back in the marina after a short little trip to Cadiz Central. That was a loud goodbye. But I'm glad he's leaving now and not tonight, because the sound of propellers from the ship like this travels through the water and it sounds terrible in the boat. And there is the second cruise ship leaving. And I think both of them woke me up tonight. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked the episode. If you did, leave a thumbs up and a comment down below. See you next time. Bye!